Hey guys, KEnODvT here, bringing you game 2 of 5 between Duckloadra and TheLittleOne. Now, this series of games is from somewhere, not sure where, but probably the GSL, but don't quote me on that. Now, this is the second game, and TheLittleOne did win the first game, with some quite amazing defense and Dark Templar play. However, the Dark Templars were not used, it was more of a threat. That was PvP, and I was quite interested to know that the Liquid TLO decided to swap races, which I'm a bit puzzled about. Maybe he felt his Protoss play was a bit of a fluke, or maybe he just gets bored like me. So I often get bored playing one race over and over and over, which is one of the reasons why I play random, even though my turn play is absolutely atrocious. Now, we do see both players being reasonably standard, no 6-pulling cheese, early scouts, nothing particularly scary. The TLO, the little one, is scouting the opposite position on Lost Temple. I think this is Lost Temple, I don't know. We shall find out. Is scouting the opposite position on Lost Temple, and apart from that, nothing particularly interesting is happening. Both players going for a 9 supply item, and that's interesting. Duckloadra is scouting a lot earlier than he did in his previous game, going for a 9 scout. Maybe that's because this is a 4-player sporty map. Now, this is quite interesting spawning positions, and I would not be totally surprised if TLO decided to take an early expansion and put down 2 spine crawlers, because he could hold this area quite effectively with 2 spine crawlers. However, Duckloadra may be going for some funny business, given this worker is still behind. Maybe he's going to seal TLO in with some cannons and a forge, but we can see that TLO is going to try and go for that early expand. No, he's just trying to chase that worker away. While this is happening, Duckloadra is laying down a 13 gateway, so maybe going to try and push out some early pressure. However, TLO has just laid down his spawning pool, so in 65 seconds, well, in about 50 seconds, he will be able to push in with some lings, so we'll see what happens. This Overlord is continuing to move on, which is quite interesting. I normally just leave it there, but maybe he's going to hover it over here, or just check for expansions with it, who knows. We do see Duckloadra is being quite cautious of an early expansion from TLO, and maybe this is because he's not exactly sure what TLO is going to do, given he just versed him in Protoss, and now he's versing him in Zerg, so he might be a little bit concerned about what TLO is planning. I know I would be, although I'd be worried about what TLO was planning, whether I was playing him Zerg, Protoss, or Terran. So we can see this Overlord is heading out over here and will gain sight over this expansion just for some easy checkage of whether he's expanded or not. Duckloadra is still hanging around checking to see what's what, but we do see 6 lings being produced. Maybe he's going to try and put some early pressure on with these 6 lings. If he's fast and micro as well, he will be able to get past that Zealot. And with one Zealot, you cannot seal a hole that big, and he is not producing another. He is going to produce a Stalker, I would suggest, a Stalker and Gateway. He is chrono boosting out the Stalker, and 6 lings could make his life very, very problematic. He is possibly, yes, he's going to build another Gateway just to block it off. He may not have been intending to do that, but this does allow him to block his base off with one Zealot. He is now going to... He cannot try and stop the little one going after that cybernetics core. However, this Stalker will stop this from happening. He is going to push out with his Zealot. That might have been slightly risky, I'm not sure. He is now, however, just seeing if he can check for an expansion, given that that was a push, and people generally expand after a push. However, the little one does seem to be producing en masse Zerglings, with 4 more Zerglings coming out, as well as 2 already, so we do see 8 Zerglings have been produced. That was a very nicely caught probe by the little one, so we do now see 8 Zerglings out on the field. They do now have speed. This could make things very problematic for Duckloadra. However, this choke is very, very effective versus lings. Maybe he's going to try and bailing bust through. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Maybe roaches. He has now stopped mining gas, so he does not want any gas. He is going for a double expansion. Wow, that is sneaky. 2 expansions. This could make Duckloadra life incredibly painful very, very quickly if he does not do something about this. Not only does he take his natural, he takes the opposing side's natural. Not exactly sure why he didn't just go for the base, but who knows, maybe, I guess that's faster to get to with Lings for him, and then he wouldn't be able to hold the choke with some zealots or something if he was going after the base. We do now see that Duckloadra has pushed out, and I'm unsure if he's going to try and expand. He may be thinking about it, but it's not going to be easy. Liquid TLO is trying to get his Overlord in place so he can check to see if an expansion does go down. This amount of Zerglings is quite large, but it is not enough to push up into this base. He will need Banelings, Roaches, something. We do see a Baneling nest coming out, so we will probably see a Baneling bust coming very, very shortly. With these two bases, he will be able to grab a lot of gas. Also, he may just be using these two bases for the extra lava spawns. He has got a queen down here, and another queen will shortly be under production. I am certain of it. However, he does not have enough workers to sustain the amount of production he is doing with all these links. He does now know about an expansion. He's going to try out and see what he can do with it. He cannot stop it. This amount of Stalkers, I'm blanking on what they're called, Stalkers, Sentry, and Zealots, wow, that was bad, are making it very, very difficult for him to try and push in. He's just getting a Zergling in just to see what the progress on the Nexus is. This amount of Banelings are going to make the life very, very difficult. They will deal with those Zealots and possibly a Stalker or two. This amount of Zerglings are going to push in. They may get a knight. They are getting a very nice surround. However, two very well placed force fields do stop him from getting those Banelings in, which is a calamic damage. However, he was able to get the Banelings in there in the end, but there was a severely diminished number. These three bases production is now paying off for him, given that we can see he's producing 20 Lings and 2 Banelings. He is still possibly not able to produce as much as he would like, given that he only has 2 workers mining at each other expansion, but full saturation at his main. We do now see quite a powerful push happening for Duckloadra, and the little one is going to be hard pressed to be able to deal with this. However, sandwiching Lings from both sides could make things interesting, but Zealots, as we know, do tear through Lings fairly efficiently. We do see a constant stream of Lings coming down from the bottom. Duckloadra must now know that another expansion is afoot. He's just trying to get any little bit of advantage he can. He will need to snipe that pylon very, very quickly, or he could be in big trouble. He is going to abandon his own base and see what he can do, trying to force Duckload to pull back. If he is able to get a few workers, it could be problematic for Duckloadra. He is now pulling out his workers, heading towards his army, trying to get his workers out of there. He's actually blocked off his main, which is very, very intelligent, and will stop any kind of Ling run by. These workers have made it all the way over here, and with this base destroyed, may start building pylons or anything of their leisure. They are now pushing up into his main. However, the little one is producing a number of Banelings. These Banelings could turn the tide, but then again, it may not be enough. He is pulling the workers off the mineral line to trying to irk every little advantage he can out of this defensive position. The constant stream of Lings is still coming down from the bottom. He is unable to push this back. I do believe one force field at the bottom of the ramp will stop any reinforcements from that bottom expansion. He could probably try and hold down with the bottom expansion, but he doesn't have enough workers there to produce enough units. I believe this is going to be GG from the little one. He was unable to do significant damage to his opponent, and now he's paying for it. These workers are going to try and irk out every single advantage he can. No, they're just going to try and run away, go to the other expansion. He might be able to put down some spine crawlers, master a defense, and with that amount of workers you can mine significant amounts. However, they were cut off by a force field. They still are, in fact. There's a large amount of Lings pushing into that there. This amount of Lings outside of a choke point would do quite nicely against this army, but one force field plus this choke point is going to make Liquid's life very, very difficult, and we do see the GG. Wow, what a game. That is... wow. Whew. That was a very well played game by Duckload, punishing the little one for those 2 expansions and the amount of units he was not able to produce due to them. Very, very nice force field play, able to keep the reinforcements outside and the workers from leaving. Because if those workers were able to leave, they may have came over here, built some spine crawlers, and been able to marshal some kind of defense. However, he was able to push in and decimate any forces. And with this queen caught off creep, it was going to be a very, very bad situation for the little one. This is KEnODvT, and I'll see you guys in replay 3.